Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy, do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
Got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughened him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
9 out of 10 judges prefer watching the Recovery Addict live stream in their court.
The fireworks are not done.
Now we're getting commentary on the case. Dati mihi Anglican, Praise Verbis Latinus.
All right. I'm putting everything back together in my studio here. Discord was hard on me a little bit. I had to change things up a little bit. So hopefully you can hear me now. Thumbs up if we're working. Thumbs up. I think we are. Good. That's the way it should be. There I am. Camera's on. Golden Girl is first in chat. Congratulations, Golden Girl. First in chat yet again. First time this week. Pretty sure first time this week, but definitely not the first time offender for you, Golden Girl. You've been here a time or two before as far as owning the internet goes. You know the drill. Congratulations. We'll ship it up to you in an email form. That's how the internet is delivered, is in email form. Thank you for being here. Let's see. Somebody was saying something was already going. What was that? Tish says it's live too. I'm just waiting for Recovery Addict. What's live? Let's see. Oh, you've got one just down the road from Matthew? Alexis Avila trial. That is a sad one, too. I think the baby survived, though, right? Dumpster diver saves the day. Yes. That's good news a little bit, I think, if I'm thinking of the right case. Okay, here we go again. Yes, if you were able to join us on Discord, I'm sorry. I struggled to get my audio working early on. We had a lot of fun talking with people. Some of the voices from across the pond that aren't typically able to connect on the burner phone were able to connect with us briefly, and that was a lot of fun to do that. Let's see, I need this one right here. There. I hope you can't tell that I spilled my lunch all the way down my shirt, so I'm trying to keep the image small right now. Let's see. TA, good afternoon. Welcome back. Yeah, we will do more Discord live streams for sure. Some chats. It's crazy. I think we can only have like 100 people in the room at a time. Excuse me. 100 people at a time, and that's what we had. We had 100 people in there at one point, and as many of us, myself included, were fairly new to Discord or hadn't been on in a while in the live chat feature. Trying to figure out when our mics were hot and when they were not was a lot of fun. So we may have heard a few conversations we weren't intended to hear. I, for one, know a lot more about scheduling legal appointments than I did before. I'm looking at you, Matthew. No, just kidding. You're good. No, it was good. We had a lot of fun. It was great to connect with a lot of people and hear your voices and get some just back and forth in a casual environment. We will do more of those for sure. Some planned and some sort of random. Let's see. You continued to read as live on YouTube while you were on Discord. Yes, Lisa, I did that sort of intentionally because I knew people pop in and pop out, and if they missed the fact that we were offline, I wanted to be able to chat with them and say, hey, here's where we are. Ooh, why is this going off? Let's see. It's a telemarketer. Oh man, they hung up. Hello? No, they hung up. It was a telemarketer. That would have been so good. I could so use a telemarketer call about now. Okay. All right. There we go. Let's see. We're trying to get ready for Waukesha County Court
Are we going to address
branch.
we're
We're trying to get ready for Mr. Daryl Brooks, who just might ask that very question. Are we going to address subject matter jurisdiction today? As we anticipate him having a meeting with Judge Dorow. A great little meeting. Let's see, what we have right now is this right here.
I was kick back, taking it easy.
So we're just waiting. Oh, I need to do, there we go. Just quick cuts. We don't have to fade. No dramatic effect dissolves. Let's see, have downloaded Discord this morning and still don't get how it works. I'll have to watch a video on this later. Gen DC, awesome. Yeah, it is fun. It's a lot of fun to do that. I was hoping, yeah, we could maybe convince the people that I have some more lunar panels. If they're trying to sell solar panels, that's a fun one for me. I figured out how to get in Discord, but I don't know if I want to go back. It's a bit much for me, says Crochet Addict. It is a little crazy, but oh my goodness, there's so much information there. It was fun to hear everyone's voices. You're all real people. Janlin, I was completely nervous. It's funny. I can sit here and chat with, we've had, in the past week, we've had up to like 4,000 people at one point in chat. And I'm perfectly okay with that. But I click connect on Discord and there's 100 people who I can hear and can respond back to me. And I was jittery. I'm like, oh, I don't know how this is going to go. I don't know what to say. I'm sure Judge Dorow is just elated. She is so excited right now. I think I spelled her name wrong in the channel heading though. Let's see. I loved, slept, and breathed this criminal trial for the parade slaughter. It was a long trial. We were all there for it. It was crazy. Okay. Thank you, Diana. You did great as well.
Are we going to address subject matter jurisdiction?
Did you know that recovery addict is an anagram of deviated cry orc? Wow. I did not know that I was an anagram for that.
For the record, I don't consent to that name.
It looks like you're actually telling the truth. The 2 D's, 1 A. Oh, you've got extra A's in there, I think. Well, no, 1 A. I think you're right. I think that's actually true. Okay, how long till DB is put on mute? I think he's already on mute. We'll see if he gets ever unmuted. Nasty Neighbor was not guilty. Yes, I saw that. Is that the Latham? I forget the Zach. I forget the name of that trial. But not guilty on both counts, I think. He sounded great when he had the chance to actually speak. I did a lot of listening. It was great to hear your voices. Okay. So abstain. I did not consent to estoppel.
Bring the jury.
Crusoe, I love the anagrams. That's really cool. Probably not gag this time. I believe this is going to be, he's going to be from Zoom. This is going to be a Zoom feed. Oh, sorry, where was that? There I am. Christy says, still trying to calm my breathing after live chat on Discord. First time to live chat. It was a little crazy, I admit. Probably future ones will be a little more relaxed as we learn this. What time is Darrell on, please? We're told he's supposed to be around 2, his time, but it's not popping up yet. So I might have to do some sleuthing, or maybe I need you guys to do some sleuthing to help me out. Because this the feed that we have right here should update as soon as it says court is not currently streaming. Please check back later. I'm checking back later, and there's nothing there. So we'll keep an eye on that to see what happens. We need our kids to teach us Discord. Jackie, a lot of truth there. A lot of truth. How long if you can't sing along? Good hearing you on Discord as well. It was great to hear you and hear your story. See, he may have box forts in front of him. No, I don't think so this time. I think it's basically he's going to be him in the cell on the Zoom, and that's it. I doubt. Why would Judge Dorow say, yeah, bring him back? Let's have a good old face-to-face just for old time's sake. I don't think it's going to happen. 2 Eastern or Central time? This is the great question. The longer it goes, the more I think it's going to be Central time. But that's great. I missed Daryl Brooks' trial when it happened. It would have been such fun to watch the trial with you guys. Janlin, it was crazy. It was the early days, but it was a lot of crazy. Zoom from his cell. It's sort of from the jail, like the communications cell that they all share. It's like it's your turn. You can go in and Zoom's pulled up for you type thing. I think he did request Zoom. At least at one of his trials, maybe it was one of the Milwaukee trials that are going on. He requested not to be brought up for the trial, and he just do a Zoom appearance. This has to do with restitution, Missy. I believe this hearing's for restitution for the parade incident. It'll be 3 p.m. Eastern time. Dodie, do you have a link you could send to the burner phone to make sure I'm in the right? We're talking the Waukesha County Circuit Court 2, right?
Mr. Ivan.
Hey, Ivan. Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Hanging in there. Just drilling out and looking through some old videos. I was talking to the pregame chat, as I like to call it, before you come on, and I've been digging through all the old videos of Rebel, so I'm going to be posting all those to the site in the next couple of weeks here. Obviously not walking videos, but just all sorts of random videos that we have of her. But
cool.
so I just wanted to let everybody in the chat know that. As far as why Brooks has been, I have a little bit of insight as to why he is requesting to go Zoom instead of being transported. So Brooks is he's currently still in Dodge, as far as I know, which is the processing prison in the state of Wisconsin.
Okay.
And so
is that in Milwaukee?
that's in Waupun,
okay.
Waupun, Wisconsin. Now, there are two different men's prisons in Waupun. There is Dodge Correctional, because it's Dodge County. So there's DCI, Dodge Correctional, but then there's Waupun, which is an actual prison where you get staffed to after you go through processing at Dodge. Anyway, the reason he does not want to be brought up or brought to court each time for these sort of pointless hearings where there's no performance value as far as he's concerned, which is what he's all about, obviously. The reason he doesn't want to get moved is because when they move you out of Dodge to take you to these court hearings, you go to whatever county. So he would go back to Milwaukee County, and so he loses his cell. So like when he would leave Dodge, he would have to forfeit his cell. He would have to go read through processing, and so that's why he doesn't want to have to go back. That's why he doesn't want to have to go back to court each time, is because he's getting thrown in, an entirely different unit, entirely different routine.
Puts him on the bottom of their ladder again.
Exactly. And as far as, I know it may not seem like a big deal to people, on the outside, but routine is everything when you're in there. It's literally all you have. It's how you pass your calendars, as they say. And so when he is going to court each time, he is forfeiting his cell and his place in line, so to speak, and he doesn't want to keep doing that for sort of 10-minute hearings where he's just, basically appearing and then being taken away. So,
well, the chat is singing your praises about the knowledge you're presenting here. None of us had any idea about that. Is the phrase "get out of Dodge" is that related to the same prison?
Boy,
is that where it comes from?
If I had a dollar for every time that phrase got uttered at DCI, I wouldn't have had to be working my 50. Now, see, I had a level 5 job. I had a level 5 job, which was a tutor, because I'm, not, I guess, your average dummy and have a little bit of education. So I actually was a tutor inside. So I was actually a level 5, which was close to 50 cents an hour. That's big money in there.
Yeah.
So basically level 1 is 12 cents and then so forth up the ladder. But nevertheless, he is, depending on the job he has, that's why I think it's kind of ironic, or, not ironic, but just sort of silly, that if this is a damages hearing to the families, they're going to be waiting in line a long time at 12 to 20 cents an hour.
Yeah.
That he's going to be making on restitution.
Yeah, I think if there's any restitution that's going to be paid of any substance, it's going to be from something that happened before or something that's happening right now. Like if Darrell has a GoFundMe or something like that for his legal defense.
Well, and what they do in Wisconsin prison, so every dollar that gets sent in, so let's say, for every dollar that gets sent into a Wisconsin inmate, whether it's from family or whatever dollar that you get put on your books, so to speak. So right off the bat, if you have any restitution, court costs, fines, all the above, right off the bat, before they even take any of that, they put 15% in a release account. And it doesn't matter if you have 300 years and you're never getting out. They put 15% away in a so-called release account that you never see on your books. Now, after that 15%, they take 40% after that towards any fines and restitution and child support and everything else. So before you even see so if you get for every dollar you get sent in, 55% of it is off the books to begin with. So you're only getting 45 cents or so on the dollar that gets sent into you right off the gate, and even on your wages too. So what's 45% of 12 cents an hour? That's how much he's actually making.
It's not a lot at all. Wow. So yeah, unfortunately for the victims in here, that basically means there's nothing they'll be getting by way of financial compensation. Right. Luckily, in this case, the community has come together and helped them and reached out and created funds and methods for them to receive.
Yeah, because they're not going to get it from him. That's my whole point here. It's not coming from DB, because even if he had not like he would do it even if he had it, but based off of what he's making and based off of what he is earning from prison wage, they're taking 55% off the whip to begin with. So
yeah. Crazy.
And I just wanted to clarify why he was, because everybody was like, well, why? We always thought prisoners wanted to get out of their cell.
Yeah, day out of the cell. It's like a vacation, right?
That's true when you're in county jail and you have nothing. You're just sitting there all day. But in prison, there's a lot more to do, so to speak. There's rec, there's softball, there's this, there's that. But your biggest thing is your routine and your cell block. Like if you get comfortable with the cellie and then you have to leave to go to court for 10 minutes.
You don't know who you're going to have back to. Yeah.
Right. You lose your spot in line, and all of a sudden you just have, an even more miserable experience than you even predicted to begin with. So that's why he's not requesting to go live anymore, is because he did that. My guess is he did that the last time when he had to appear, and he came back and he thought, damn,
he's like,
I lost my spot in line. Now I have this guy I can't even stand. Right.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Ivan, thank you so much for the insight. Appreciate hearing from you. I'm excited to see to see some more videos drop on your channel. Of
they will be coming. We're going to unload everything we have in the vault. And thank you again for everybody. I don't want to beat the dead horse in Harp Hootlian's words, but it has literally meant the world to us. And believe it or not, helped us get through a time that it looked pretty bleak a couple of days ago. So thank you to everybody.
Hang in there, man.
Have a good show.
Love you, man. Thanks a lot.
All right, bye-bye.
See you. Bye.
Love you too. Bye-bye.
That is incredibly insightful, because I was curious. I thought Daryl Brooks would have wanted every moment. There's our Bootlian. Thanks, DMB, for that. Good to have you here, DMB. Haven't seen you in a bit. But I thought it was crazy that I thought Daryl would want every chance he could get to be in front of the cameras for that. But yeah, if he loses his place in line, if he loses his cell, if he loses everything, when he leaves and leaves the prison, has to go back in and it's all new. That basically his whole life gets shaken up. Whether it's the schedule he's on, whether which group, when they eat, when they shower, when everything, all that can just be shuffled. It's like you're shaking the dice again and re-rolling his entire schedule every single day, including any cellmate he might have, or what floor he's on, or you name it. It can all change. Maybe if he's in a place he likes, he's like, hey, I'm not going to risk that to get a bad re-roll just for 5 minutes in court. Great stuff. Okay, let's see. What time does trial start? I think we're starting in about 40 minutes. We just want to make sure we've got everything lined up. I'm looking for the. Let's see. Hang on one second. I'm looking for Daryl Brooks. I'm looking for the court docket, the information that's going to cover exactly what's happening here. So hold on just one second. I'm on the case search for Wisconsin court access. Okay, Daryl Brooks. Close. Where's the, does anyone have the docket sheet for this? Dodie, do you have the docket sheet that led us here? I think we've got the right information. I'd hate to be waiting here for something that doesn't happen on this date, but I thought I had some great information here, and I'm not positive now. Is it not Waukesha? Okay. Got a couple open. Daryl Eugene. It's the bail jumping. Okay, he's got on the bail jumping. Let's see that this is the Milwaukee case. Intimidate, threaten a victim, threaten force, intimidate a witness, a person charged felony, bail jumping felony. That's got a 5/23 date, so that's a couple, next month, the end of next month. It's their final pretrial there, and then a month after that is the jury trial on that one. So he's still 2 months out on that one. Plus, let's see. Help me out here. Does anybody have the docket schedule? Eddie, I hear that. Where are you seeing this, Eddie? That's what I'm worried about.
Call from Dodie Sweeney.
Hey, Dodie, thanks for calling in. Help me out here. Help me out here.
Okay. I looked at the docket last night and on Facebook. I don't think it was on Facebook. It was on YouTube, and I can't remember what the site is. But it was very interesting. It showed the docket. It showed the whole trial.
Okay.
I don't know what you call it. Where they type
all the
what
schedule
else
for all
happening.
the appeals and everything.
Yeah. And it just said. I noticed that it said restitution trial.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what that was, so I had to look it up. I learned quite a lot of information. So it said that the trial was 2:00 Wisconsin in Waukesha time. So that should be 3:00 our time because it's an hour behind.
And we're positive this is the parade incident one, right? Not one of the other cases that are in Milwaukee.
No, this is the parade.
Are you going to address subject matter jurisdiction?
And there's Mr. Brooks right there.
Oh man, if I could go to Walker, if I could go there right now, I'd punch him in the face.
Yeah.
I'm a really nice person, really. But I have the same site that you do up on the Waukesha County Circuit Court Branch 2, and I keep refreshing it, and it's still not going on.
Okay, let me see if I can pull up Judge Dorow's.
That's how I looked it up. I looked up Judge Dorow.
Okay.
I learned a lot of things, like he's not eligible for any of the adult addiction stuff, or I can't remember what they called it. Will they have to do exercise and marching and working and stuff?
I've got it here. I've got it pulled up here, and you're 100% right. I just pulled up using the Wisconsin Circuit Court access. We're using the Judge Dorow's court calendar.
Right, that's where I found it.
And this is the case 2021 CF 001848, which is State of Wisconsin versus Daryl Brooks. It's a restitution hearing scheduled for courtroom SC 1016 today at 2. So we're good. Let me pull up that case.
For the record, I don't consent to that name.
That's when I pulled up. Yeah, when I pulled up the case, I got a lot of information. I mean, it even gives his address.
Yeah, it's
Can
got
you
everything.
send him hate mail in jail?
you can. Let's see. I've got Lady in Pink. I've got a different docket schedule for this. I've got the case number. This is clearly. I think we're on the right page here. Let's see. Yeah, we've got the restitution. She's got an hour slotted for this, an hour time. So this might be a little bit longer. Her next case is going to be at 3:00. It's a plea sentencing hearing after that. So I'm not sure if it'll take the full hour, but we might have an hour with her. And this is her courtroom, branch 2, I believe.
Okay.
So
that's what I wanted to let you know. And I love your channel.
Thank you,
I
Dodie.
love it.
Appreciate it. Thanks for calling in. We'll catch you later.
Bye.
Bye. Yes, it is Judge Dorow today. She's a saint. I wonder how she will look today. This probably isn't going to have the. This is going to be a straight court feed. First of all, this is not going to be from a news camera or from court TV or Law and Crime. This is going to be from the cameras in the courtroom. It'll look a lot like WebEx or Zoom did in the past. So we'll work with what we get. But let's see. I wonder which DB personalities we'll see in court today. All of them. Okay. Let's see. It's always longer for Brooks. Yeah, the next one's going to have to push out a little bit.
For the record, I don't consent to that name.
Legitimate hearsay says, what's the consensus here about Zachariah Anderson? I've been in several channels that have different opinions. I messaged him a couple days ago, and he messaged back today. Haven't read it yet. Are you saying, do we agree with the verdict from the jury? I spelled Daryl's name wrong. I think it's appropriate that I spelled Daryl's name wrong, because he's like, that's not my name. How am I supposed to spell it, Mrs. R.A.? Darrell. Daryl Brooks. And did I put Judge Dorow with? I gave her 2 R's. Does she have 1? Let's see. Wisconsin Court. Judge Dorow only has 1. Yeah, I spelled everyone's name wrong. Spelled Judge Dorow wrong. All right, that's not my name. I fixed it. Thank you very much, Mrs. R.A. Watching my back.
I'm not a cat.
I'm not a cat. The judge is the most patient judge I've ever watched. Too patient, Alpha. Going back to legitimate hearsay, I'm curious about that as far as whether it's verdict or not. Yes, do you agree with the verdict on mostly circumstantial evidence? Legitimate hearsay. Let me say this on our Discord chat that we had between the previous live and this one. I talked about this briefly. I think I did. I have found, and honestly, it was to my own surprise, I have found that my threshold for action is lower than I thought it was when it comes to hesitating to act based on facts that I've received. Specifically in cases like this, when I'm looking at this as a potential juror, from the outside, I'm sitting in the place of a juror as I look at the evidence and saying, how would I vote? I have found that my threshold for reaching what I would refer a reasonable conclusion or reasonable inference from evidence, be it circumstantial or direct, is very low. And I thought it was very high until I started, expressing my opinion. And everyone's like, I don't know, that's all just circumstantial. I take some solace in hearing every time the judge says the law makes no distinction between direct evidence and circumstantial evidence as to their weight and value. That's all up to the jury to decide in every case. And so in my case, I guess I just think circumstantial evidence carries more weight, or maybe I'm just conceited and think that my thought process is superior or something. I don't know how I got here, but that's a nice soundbite. I don't know how I got here. For me, circumstantial evidence is enough in so many cases. And so for me, in the Zachariah Anderson case, I'm with the jury. I believe he's guilty. I realize there's a whole bunch of just circumstantial evidence, but I don't feel like I need a video of him committing murder that's signed and sealed with DNA to say, okay, yeah, now I'm on board. So for me, I do agree. I do know there's a lot of probably more so than other cases, there's a lot of doubt about that conviction, about that. Let's see. Who says there was some response there on that? I don't support the conviction, says Melody. Don't support the verdict on ZA. Mrs. R.A. is checking your paper. Teaching never stops. Yes, she helps me out. This place gets better and better. Krista, thank you so much. You've said just some amazing, nice things. You've been incredibly generous. It's good to have you here. And then on top of that, you're just saying really nice things in the comments. We like you a lot. Thank you for finding us. Okay, I love Skittles, the green ones. Let's see. This is the correct spelling, according to Shelley. I spelled Daryl Brooks wrong. I got a couple letters wrong, apparently. Let's see. Legitimate hearsay. Thanks for the question. And I realize I think I may be in the minority when I jump to a conclusion, or I honestly, in my head, I don't think I'm jumping to a conclusion. I'm looking at the evidence, and I'm trying to say, I've used this analogy before. I'm not sure if you've heard this, but imagine you have a puzzle laid out before you, and there are some missing pieces to complete the puzzle. I don't need to know everything that's on that piece, or be able to see that piece to know what's in that missing puzzle piece. And for me, with it being, even if there are 2 or 3 missing puzzle pieces, I have a good idea and think in my head of what's going to be there. I might not have specific details about something very unique that might appear there, but generally, overall, I feel like I know what's in this area. I know if I'm looking for a puzzle piece, I know what it should sort of look like, and to have it fit. And that's, for me, that's the circumstantial evidence, is that evidence around that hole. I don't have that actual piece that I can put in there and say, okay, now the puzzle's complete. I can see the whole picture. But it's close enough that I can say I understand what should be there based on what I'm seeing around here. And for that reason, I can say, yes, if I had that puzzle piece, it would look like this, and that would be either guilty or not guilty. I honestly, it intrigues me, the fact that I do seem to jump to this, willing to, I get past that point of hesitation so early. I have to analyze. I need a psychiatrist to sit down and talk to, who can help me through this. Yes, an OODA loop. My brain is now stuck in an OODA loop. Thank you very much for that, Laura and AJ. Question from Lex Luthor. Does anyone here know where I can tune into the live trial of Trezell and Jacqueline West? Cal City trial. It's audio only and should be in session right now. Cal City, this is California? Is that what we're talking about? Cal City? I will say that I'm very hesitant to live stream anything from California because of their rules, and I need to brush up with, maybe have Nicole Goodman represent me as, my legal representation before I start live streaming their stuff. Daryl Brooks is the hard one. He's an evil guy, a sociopath. Yeah, Corn Pope, I agree, but at the same time, he's a little bit easier as well, because for me, it's easier for me to make that decision, and we're sort of on the same page. Let's see, suspected spam call. Why is it that?
Call from this message is very important for you. To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Apparently, I have a I've got a decision to make, and I'm not sure what to do.
To send a voicemail, press 2. Your caller just hung up. Goodbye.
Oops, sorry. That call was very important too, and they wouldn't have told me it was important if it wasn't, right? Let's see. I was knocked in the face when I was young. I had to say it's someone that was 100% him, but I said, what if he had a twin? Okay. I see that. What if they had a twin? I can see looking at a situation and trying to find an alternate solution. But if it doesn't match, or if there's nothing around that exterior, around those missing puzzle pieces, if there's nothing there that Brooks has 3 attorneys. Holy cow. This is going to be fun. If there's nothing around there that indicates that there is something different in there, then I'm okay with saying it's not probable, and moving ahead. Let's see, Mr. Upper Torso, I'm a defendant's juror for the most part, but that's because I'm secretly an anarchist. Down with the man. Distrust society, question authority. I think these are the bumper stickers you have on the back of your car, Mr. Upper Torso. I had a good friend growing up. I'd say good friend, but I had a friend that we would always hang out with, but it was only on the walk to and from school because our paths crossed, and he was probably a friend of a friend. And so I knew him during that time. And I think his name was Stryker, or at least that's what we called him. But his parents were probably like you, and they had a huge question authority sticker across the back of the car. And I just thought that was so edgy. They're just really sticking it to the man by having that sign out there just saying, we don't trust you type thing. Let's see, I'm killing you. Sorry, Diana. What did I say? Yes, the Latham verdict. I believe we've got not guilties on both, and I have not followed that one at all, Krista. But I saw the tweet come across over lunch. Surprising. We haven't had many not guilties recently, but it's interesting when they do happen. Okay, we've got some great information coming in. Who's sending me this? Let's see. Who is this? This is Cachette. Cachette has come in with the scoop. About Daryl Brooks and his attorneys. Okay, we've got the Cachette. Can you confirm that we're in that we're in Waukesha Circuit Court Branch 2? I believe that's where Judge Dorow's courtroom is, and I just need to make sure we have the right video feed pulled up. But okay, so what she sent is, first of all, she says that Daryl Brooks has 3 attorneys representing him in this case, I believe. Let's see. That might be another case. Restitution of $47,000, $47,193.29 for EMC Insurance Company on behalf of the School District of Waukesha, and $124,220.65 to the Crime Victim Compensation Fund to be paid as a condition of sentence. That's the commissary. Well, you're in the right place at 2 p.m. Okay. Thank you very much, Cachette. That is some fabulous information. I appreciate you digging that up. 2 of the attorneys are the original, but the last one is current. Okay, the last one, Michael Covey. So Michael Covey is the new attorney. The 2 originals were Jeremy Perry and Anna Keys. Okay. Sounds cool. Phil says, sorry, I got to go. I watched this whole trial, but I will be back later for sure. Now I go metal detecting. Phil, I can't wait. Please send me pictures of whatever you find. I'd love to know. You know I love metal detecting. Okay. It does me some joy knowing my difficult, hard-lived past can bring some useful knowledge to the present, to the best community on earth. Ivan, thank you so much. I appreciate your enthusiasm for life and for this channel specifically. As well as your willingness to share. You are one of a kind. Glad we got you. Okay, I'm an identical twin, so if I capped someone, I would be definitely pointing my finger at my sister, Corn Pope. Corn Pope, you've got an instant alibi. It wasn't me. Look, there's somebody else that looks just like me that could have done this. Unfortunately, that works the other way as well. So you've got to be careful. Make sure your twin is on the up and up. I tried to take the spam call. It dropped. Okay. Okay. I thought the prosecution in the Zach Anderson trial was terrible, but given the facts they had in the case, I do believe he stalked and killed Rosalio. Love your neighbor, hate your leaders. That's how it goes. That's your bumper sticker. I love it. I need to see a picture of the back of your car. I know you've got them on there. I know you've got bumper stickers. You're going to have to send that in, or at least send a picture of someone else's bumper stickers that you can wholeheartedly support. Okay. You knew a striker in school? Who said that? That's like a rare name, I thought. I thought it was a cool name, too, as a kid. You know, a striker in school. And it's spelled with the Y, even. Yep, that's the way it was. Ivan says, I once dated an identical twin, and believe it or not, they would mess with me substituting out for each other as a game. To this date, I don't trust twins. Nor would I. I just, oh, man. Sorry, Corn Pope. We don't trust you. Now that we know you're willing to swap roles. That's where you're supposed to be in criminal trials. Give the defendant all the reasonable doubt. Only convict if the state removes all reasonable doubt. So the lawyer would tell me that Matthew Harris would tell me that I'm jumping to a conclusion that I might still have doubt. But I have to say that as I analyze my position, I don't find myself hesitating to act. And that's the part that intrigues me, that I thought that I would, that my threshold for action is much higher than it seems to be when I compare it to everybody else. The prosecution and defense attorneys were entertaining the ZA trial. There was some fun times there. That was definitely pretty interesting. Okay, not guilty in the nasty neighbor trial. That just happened today. Let's see, was the defendant in that trial, was he in custody or was he out on bail? I'm curious. Krista says, yeah, all right, I agreed with this one, not with what led to it, but I do believe the actual death was self-defense with Latham. Okay, so self-defense is a fun. Ooh, look what we have. We have this going on right now in the courtroom. This is from Judge Dorow's feed. I've got audio turned on, so that may be, if they're showing that camera, he might be present. I don't know. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on this. Let me do a little bit of a 3-box here. Give me a second to get this built. We'll do this one right here. Box source 1 will be 3. Box 2 is going to be 4. Wait, 1. Box 3 will be 4. There we go. I think my shirt has dried enough that you can't tell I spilled milk all down the front of it during lunch. Last hearing I saw, DB's lawyer said he would likely be representing himself. With Judge Dorow, I mean, he already knows the ropes. He's lived in that courtroom for a quarter of a year, I think, is how long it took. No, what is the Latham verdict? Not guilty was what we heard on the Latham case, on both charges. Sue Opera is going to be here. Oh, it's going to be great to see Sue. Loved Sue in the Daryl Brooks trial, so this is going to be good to see her again. Maybe, will we get the whole team back together, just like, for a quick little selfie? All I want to do all day is sit with RA with you guys, but I get so distracted and eager that I forget to focus. Annie, good to have you here. Why would the 2 original attorneys be back with him after he let them go? Psychic, I'm not sure if the record that I'm looking at here that Cachette sent is more of a historical record of who has represented him in the past, or if they are current, because actually I can see that they've withdrawn on 9/28. That's the day that she gave him the ability to represent himself. So they entered as his attorneys and were withdrawn. So I think we just have a current one of Michael Edward Covey is his current attorney. Whether or not he represents himself, we'll see how that goes. I think Michael Covey will have to withdraw because Judge Dorow was not about having him represent himself with like a standby attorney in the background. See, only Sue today, plus another, I think. No Zach, bummer. In the case filings, it says, on 410, it says a letter. This is Cachette just dumping great information for us here, so thank you, Cachette. 410, a letter filed by the state requesting that crime victim compensation be allowed to appear by Zoom for the restitution hearing. So crime victim compensation, that might be the representative from there. 410, the defendant's motion to deny proposed additional restitution based on inability to pay, filed by the attorney Covey. Then there's a letter filed by the state requesting that Hartford Insurance be allowed to appear by Zoom for the restitution hearing. And judges approved that as well. And then on 412, there was a letter to the court with correction to the defendant's motion filed by attorney Covey. So it looks like we're moving forward. Can't wait to see exactly what happens here. And it sounds like, insurance will be there. This is going to be quicker than just a couple minutes. It might take the full hour. Ivan is a true gangster. He knows what's what. Spicy pickle sandwich. Thanks for the chat earlier. Yeah, thanks for being with you, One Man's View. Appreciate you. And yeah, I can follow your name changes as well. I love it. Let's see. Corn Pope says, never thought of that. She's definitely the one who would cap someone. Your twin. Now you've got a concern. Nicole Goodman, good to have you here. Welcome. I think if you try right now, if somebody can do exclamation point Brandy and someone else can do exclamation point Nicole. I have not tested this, but I think we've got their links working to have them. There's Nicole's. Let's see if this one works. Why is it not doing anything? It's taking too long. Oh, get some great legal updates from Nicole Goodman, and please follow Brandy Churchwell for top quality true crime recap videos. We've got them both, so thank you. Thanks for the tests; they are working. I wanted to get you guys to have a quick link, so it'd be easier to shout you out, as both of you have provided some great not just information, but on content, but great analysis and resources for the channel. We want to be able to return the favor in some small way. Ellen, hello from Denmark. It's good to have you. Love having people from Denmark connect. We have quite a few that connect over the day. It's a little late in the day for you. Okay, so all right. Brandy's got the going to have the live Lori Vallow audio tonight. That's for like a group listen and chat. If you want to catch up on that. Why am I so excited to see Daryl Brooks again? Becky Lou, I don't know. I honestly am more excited to see Judge Dorow and see how she behaves, because I think now that this is a done deal, like the sentence has passed, she doesn't have to pretend like he might be innocent. He might not be guilty. And so he's working in the system now. This is her. I think she's much more relaxed. Like she's not shackled as much to make sure that everything she does is exactly a certain way, so that it doesn't cause a mistrial or something like that. Obviously, she's going to be proper about everything, but I don't think she's going to put up with any crap at this point. We need this one right here, Ivan. I'll see if I can build this one. Let's see. You realize if I do this, though, Ivan, that over time, new people who come to chat will just assume that when we're talking about a rebel, we're talking about you. So you would become the rebel in that case. We'll get that set up. Okay. Yellow Submarine, I have had... First of all, thanks for saying this, but honestly, I've had so many people that have come into my life at the perfect time that enabled me to do this, and just offer, whether it was encouragement, whether it was advice, whether it was actual information. We're talking like Matthew Harris, who's taking time out. I'm a nobody, okay, over here on the internet with almost no legal knowledge whatsoever, and just taking the time to talk to me and teach me and explain things that have made me be able to move forward, and even helping me with my YouTube, everything else. I've had so many people who volunteered, both in chat through live, as you guys have seen, as well as just through the burner, contacting me privately and saying, hey, if you'd ever need anything, can I talk to you about this? It has been unbelievable to see the support that people have given me, and it would be ungrateful of me to do anything but help those people back, and others who need a hand up. So that's what I try to do. Yes, we're waiting for the Vallow audio to be released. There seemed to be a long break in some of the tweets today, legitimate hearsay, from the Vallow trial. I think KQD in chat was following and saying, hey, it's been like 25 minutes and we haven't had an update. No tweets from some of the people who are fairly active in tweeting. So we'll have to find out what happened, why there was the delay a little bit today, what was happening there. I don't know anything about Daryl Brooks' trial, so I'm looking forward to this. Unfortunately, there was... The trial itself, the facts of the case are tragic. They're awful. They're horrific. So many people injured, so many people killed because of one man's senseless decision to drive his car down a Christmas parade route, through all the entries, through kids, through bands, through the dancing grannies, through everything. The soccer teams. It was awful. Sports teams. I'm not sure if it was soccer, but. The amazing thing about this trial, I think, and Debbie, I think that the takeaway that Waukesha would like to have everyone have from this is not the image of Daryl Brooks in trial saying, that's not my name type thing. That's not the takeaway. The takeaway is that this community, after this tragedy, just rallied and united and put their arms around each other and just united as one. And it was it was inspiring to see how well they came together to support each other, and not just financially, but I mean, it was just they were united as one. It was incredible to watch, and that's really the takeaway there. Let's see. Thanks for the temps again today. Drove with the car windows open. It's 82 degrees right now where I'm at.
Address subject matter jurisdiction?
Are we going to address it? We might. If he brings it up, I don't. If he's presentation, if Michael Covey is really going to represent him here in this hearing, which it sounds like he is because he's made some of the filings, I don't think subject matter jurisdiction is going to come up. Mostly Daryl Brooks is going to sit there, maybe in handcuffs, maybe in a wheelchair, or maybe just over Zoom. We'll see. Janlyn, thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome to the gallery. This is, I think, month 2 for you. Yep, I think it's month 2. We've got a new courthouse color next to your name, so thank you so much for your continued support. Is he still going to get an appeal? He's going to appeal everything he can, but this is not the hearing for that. This is the restitution hearing. His appeals are still in the works, and I think he's actually trying to do a GoFundMe to raise money for an appeal. I'm not sure if it's a GoFundMe or some other type of fundraiser, but he wanted to raise money to pay for his appeal. Debbie Wilson, oh my gosh, you were a lucky duck if you've never heard of him. Krista, that is hilarious. Yeah, it grates on our ears a little bit. We can take it in small doses, and so I think today it will be fun to watch, but mostly because the process is doing what it does best, and this at this point, there's restitution that's going to be imposed. You're right about that. She lets him know what she thinks and doesn't play his game. We were worried because of Judge Dorow's popularity when this first began that as she ran for Supreme Court that she would win and we wouldn't get to watch her in court anymore. It turns out she didn't win, and I don't know why. I don't know the politics of that, but oh my goodness, hang on one second. Catchup has just sent me pictures of the parade. And she says, right before the SUV came through, my family members and their kids were posing for pictures and collecting candy. And she sent me pictures of them on the parade route. Man. Kesha, thank you very much. Great family, cute family, awesome kids. Looks just amazing. That's really cool. That's awesome. Janlyn upped her she renewed her membership and then promptly bought 5 more people a membership because that's just how amazing she is. Janlyn, thank you so much for the gifted memberships. It looks like those went to ANGC, John Linick, Mildred, Victoria Rose, and Miss M. Awesome. Congratulations to the new wieners, and thank you, Janlyn, for your generosity. I still say Brooks was a terrorist. Yes, here's what I'll say. The last poet. Yes, we also concede that this was like a terrorist thing, but in the legal sense, no. Sort of like we can say, yes, Miss Stout Letitia Stout is crazy, but in the legal sense, no. There are certain definitions that have to be met. So the FBI looked at him and said, nope, you didn't meet those definitions of terrorism. So they stepped out. But yeah, it definitely created the fear and terror in people's hearts. Okay. The reason Dorow didn't win is because many locals thought her patience with DB showed weakness. That's too bad, because I realized there was a lot of people, as you heard from the impact statements, a lot of people who were very upset with Mr. Brooks. But Judge Dorow's patience with Mr. Brooks was in fact protecting those people, because she was making sure they didn't have to go through this trial again with a mistrial, or that this would be overturned on appeal because she made a mistake and rushed through something and denied him something that he should have been allowed to have. So yes, in that side, I can see the frustration of the people who's like, just sentence him already type, right? We know he's guilty. We've got the video. I sat there, I watched him with my own eyes type thing. But at the same time, she says, I have this process I have to follow and I have to do it right, or else we either have to do it again and reopen these wounds for everyone that has to testify and for all the investigations and everything, or possibly he might get away or get off from doing this because we do it wrong.
Are we going to address subject matter jurisdiction?
Krista says, Amanda, hey, get to chatting because I'm determined to get you a membership. Thank you, Krista. Amanda, hopefully the algorithm will recognize you soon. So you should get them for the lawyer you know all the time. I guess you luck out on a lawyer you know. Maybe it will happen here soon. We'll watch chat and see if it happens. Okay, you have not missed the appearance yet. Crisis at the Border. Daryl Brooks is still anticipated to show up, possibly by Zoom. Yeah, I don't blame him. Ivan, I don't blame them for feeling the way they do. I personally like the fact that we still have Judge Dorow on the bench. I think she can do more good where she is right now than possibly she might be able to do on the Supreme Court. And there might be a time where she ends up on the Supreme Court for the state. She did an amazing job, so I wish people wouldn't say those things about her. She was incredible. It was good. And that's why we called her Saint Darrow. Okay. Nems girl, maybe she didn't win because the other judges wouldn't want to deal with DB. They're like, I don't know. You've got to stay here until all his appeals are exhausted, right? The very last appeal, once that's done, then we'll let you move on because nobody else wants to touch that with a 10-foot pole. Tom Farrell, I agree 100%. She did it right. And I'm so excited to see her continue to do what she does very well. She loves her job and does it very well. Matthew Harris says, Weather Watch, in the audio chat, you missed me sharing a picture of me dressed up as Jack Sparrow for Halloween. In the audio chat, yes. Yes, to protect the victims, made an appeal being granted unlikely. Beach Lover, there were times where I was almost screaming at the computer. You guys saw if you were here with us in the early days. I'm like, why doesn't she just gag him? She said over and over, the law allows me to do this. I can gag you. I can have you bound and gagged to stop these outbursts. And I wanted it so badly. It was on my bingo card. You know, I thought it would happen, and I wanted that bingo. But she was patient. And I think it was to her credit that she was. Okay. Let's see. Darrell might have been decent with Brooks' case, but conservative and anti-choice, anti-healthcare didn't sit right with some. Probably her political persuasion may have had more of an impact on her election than just the Daryl Brooks case. I don't think people are so narrowly focused that a single issue like that would make or break a run for office. But okay. Can you repeat the Lori Daybell link for audio? Susan, you're going to hear it if you type !Brandy in chat, and that's BRANDI, and just hit enter. Then the bot will respond with the Brandy Churchwell site. So if anyone can type that in chat, and it will pop up. Give it just a second. I think you can do it once a minute. So this is the command to get her link anytime you need it. And just give it a minute for the bot to respond, and it will tell you what it is here. There it is. So there's the Brandy Churchwell link, and she's been following the Lori Daybell case and playing the audio and doing a live chat in the evenings as that becomes available. And she'll be coming to you live between 8:30 and 9 tonight. Awesome, JT Bruce Crime. I can't wait. JT, I've got to start listening to some of these podcasts that you devote your life to. I think you said you're part of 5 podcasts. That's this many. Last time I counted, that's all my fingers on one hand. That is a lot of podcasts. I do not know how you do it. Amazing gentleman to boot. So thank you very much. Let's see. JT is a boss. That's why. That's how he does it. See, Linda says, I met you during the DB trial. I'm glad I found you. This is an awesome group. Yes, the pickles actually started during DB. I think that's where we started talking about pickles, and it's stuck with the channel. And I think it's become like an entire, it's sort of infected most of LawTube as well, like the legal channels and things like that. The pickles seem to be fairly common. Am I blocked, muted, or just invisible here? It's me. I can see you. You don't have to be a member or a subscriber to, well, you have to be a subscriber to chat just so it keeps the bots out. But I can definitely see you. If you've got a question, I will try to read it and answer it for you. I caught clips of the Zach Latham trial. It was good. I think they did closings today. Nems girl, they did. The jury came back and found him not guilty on both. I believe they felt it was self-defense. So that's fantastic for him. Bring your bingo card. Bring your own bingo card. That's what BYOBC means. Okay, we've got we've got no minutes. It's straight up. The court is supposed to start right now. So let's see. A new subscriber. Where is he in court today? Lina Babe? Is that Lina Babe? I'm not sure how to spell that or pronounce that. What is he in court for today? This is for a restitution hearing. We're expecting the video to come on any minute now. It should be an hour or less. Bring up a chair, Mrs. R.A. Pull up some carpet. No, you can bring a chair. I feel bad sitting in a nice, comfy chair, and Mrs. R.A. is sitting on the floor next to me. She's good with that. We can swap. I can kneel here behind the desk if you'd like. Okay. Certainly hope he doesn't get any relief. Psychic, I don't think this is not like an appeals hearing for him. The worst possible scenario, and we're getting some motion already. Let me take this full screen so you can see what's happening. I'm going to move me over to the other side. But, as long as it's quiet, it shouldn't be a problem. Let's see what we've got here. That's too loud. Yeah. If you hear an echo. Okay, that should be good. I'm waiting for audio. I'm not hearing it yet. Give me just 1 second. Oh, we've got the button clicked. That's the problem.
Good afternoon. Attorney Michael Covey appears in person. Mr. Brooks appears via Dodge Correctional, via Zoom. Judge, could I just confirm that my client can see and hear me?
Go ahead.
Can you see and hear me, sir? Can you raise your hand or speak? That's an affirmative. Thank you, Judge.
All right. He did gave us the thumbs up signal. We're here today to address the state's request for additional restitution. That letter was filed back on November 30th of 2022. The court had given Mr. Brooks until January 3 to file an objection. And a response was filed that the court interpreted as an objection. Since that time, Attorney Covey has been appointed to represent Mr. Brooks in the appellate process, but you are appearing here today, and we are thankful for that. And so the matter was put on. Obviously, it's outside some of the time limits, but I would note the original request was made timely, and frankly, it was due to the court's calendar. Originally, I had been scheduled to be in a 5-week trial starting February 13th. And then that was delayed by 2 weeks, and ultimately that trial was adjourned. And so that was the reason for the hearing being scheduled on today's date. So for now, I don't anticipate your client having to talk. I can just hear background. So I'm just going to mute it. And if we need to talk to him, we'll unmute.
He's
There'll be
muted
a 30-second
already.
delay unless he has the device
He's
there.
muted already.
To unmute. But in any event, I think I've accurately stated kind of the timing of the requests. As I understand, the additional paperwork that was filed as recently as April 12th, and I trust you've seen that, Attorney Covey?
Judge, yes, I did see, I think you're talking about document 566.
Yes.
I have that right in my hand.
All right. And so does the state have a grand total for additional restitution the state is seeking?
So to be clear, Your Honor, on the document, is that the one that's titled, well, the first thing is crime victim compensation? Okay, thank you.
Yes, I just couldn't tell if that, I didn't do the math, if that's.
Yes. I wanted to be clear on that. So at the bottom it notes you've already ordered sum of 124,220.65 to crime victim compensation.
Yes.
The grand total that's listed at the top of 134,466.85 encompasses that 124. So this is not in addition to. Okay. So our request for crime victim compensation is 134,466.85. For Wilbur and Associates or Hartford Insurance, total request is $108,164.61. Optum subrogation, $118,805.62. Progressive Insurance, $10,000 for victim GGG, and Progressive Insurance, $104,662.64 for victim Q.
I think that's Zach.
All right, and I
next to
believe
Sue.
your letter of
That is
November
Zach.
29 indicates the additional amounts that you're seeking. And then this document really totals things up.
Yes, it does. And at the bottom, already ordered the EMC insurance for Waukesha School District. That was already ordered, and there's no update to that number. So that number can remain as fixed.
It's a tattoo above his left or his right eye, and he had that before court as well in the previous trial.
I'm just going to do a quick calculation to determine the additional amount to crime victim compensation the state is seeking. Looks like that's $10,246.20.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that number?
Assuming I hit the keys on my calculator correctly, it's the difference between the 134 plus minus the 124, and that's $10,246.20.
Yes, we agree with that.
All right, and then the additional other amounts to other individuals, namely insurance companies, are really those four amounts that are listed in the near the bottom of this document to Hartford Insurance, the Optum, and Progressive for two different victims.
Yes, correct.
All right. Is that your understanding of what was being requested, Attorney Covey?
Judge, it clarifies things. I had thought that the state was asking for an additional, the full 134,466.85 in addition to the 124. So my number, original number, I thought was just north of 476,000, but it seems like it's closer to about 350,000, give or take. I'm using round numbers because I don't have a calculator with me.
Understood. It's my understanding from the document that you filed on behalf of Mr. Brooks that Mr. Brooks is not contesting the loss that was suffered, but rather his ability to pay.
Judge, that is correct. I'm not asking for, at least for anything to date, anybody to present extra documentation as to the accuracy of these numbers. It's just on his earning ability and lack of funds.
And was that the state's understanding as well?
Yes.
I know in the filing from Attorney Covey, I don't recall if it was the letter or the actual motion to deny, there's a claim that Mr. Brooks is indigent based upon his incarceration. Is the state going to take any issue with that?
We're agreeing to that fact, Your Honor. We've reached a stipulation with Attorney Covey that recognizes Mr. Brooks, to our knowledge, is indigent at this time, and that his future earning capacity would be limited to prison wages.
And that's an agreeable stipulation to the defense?
Judge, we reached that agreement yesterday. Absolutely, I suggested it.
I don't want to be presumptuous, but I know the last time the court addressed restitution, the state was requesting really an order related to an escrow account. Should there be future payouts or earnings by Mr. Brooks, will you be making the same request?
Yes, and I noted that is in the original judgment of conviction that was filed by the court on November 17th of 2022. You had made that order and that finding at the time of sentencing. And you had also indicated restitution costs and surcharges and fees to be collected from prison monies pursuant to statutory authority. And so we're going to ask both of those orders remain in place.
Will your client have any objection to that?
If there's additional restitution, I don't object to the escrow account.
That would be for monies paid to Mr. Brooks, not a restitution, not an escrow account beyond that. Under 949-165.
I'm sorry, Counsel, if I may, just for 1 second.
Whisper, 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 whisper. I don't know what Zach's doing on his computer over there, but he's hard at work over there next to Sue.
Judge, Counsel explained to me briefly what she was getting at. I don't have any objection to that.
All right. Then it seems to me there's really just some legal arguments as to whether I should order the additional restitution.
Yes, Judge.
The stipulation then would put us in a position where Mr. Brooks does not need to testify. That's my understanding, and that would be how I would proceed. Anyone see that any differently, Attorney Opper?
We do not.
Judge, that was the reason why I suggested the stipulation.
All right, thank you. Then, since it is the state's request for additional restitution, I'll hear from the state.
Thank you, Judge. Your Honor, we are asking this court to order restitution in the full amount as proposed in the document we filed yesterday. I think you said it was 566.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I just don't know the document number.
Yes, it is document number 566.
Judge, we certainly understand ability to pay as one of the factors that the court is to consider here, but we'd like to highlight a couple of things. First of all, one of the goals of restitution is to rehabilitate the defendant. We think that is an important goal in this case, noting the damage that was inflicted by this defendant to multiple victims. We would note that most of the monies, or at least a majority of the monies, came from the Crime Victim Compensation Fund, which really is funded by taxpayers. It's a state fund, and that I'm glad to see on this list there's no individual victims that are still looking to be made whole, that it was either covered by Crime Victim Compensation or insurance companies. So I think it's important that we recognize that in the desire for the public to have those monies repaid to the CVC if appropriate. As far as the insurance companies, the same, Your Honor. While I understand they operate as a for-profit business, these were substantial expenses that they had to cover for their insured, for their clients, and a direct result of the defendant's conduct and the significant injuries that several of these victims suffered as a result of Mr. Brooks' behavior. So we do believe that it's both fair and appropriate for the court to order the whole amount, notwithstanding that limitation. The reality is that perhaps this will never be achieved by Mr. Brooks in his lifetime on prison wages, but it would serve a rehabilitative purpose, because should he ever receive employment within the prison system and a wage, albeit minimum, it would be a reminder to him and aid in his rehabilitation that for whatever monies he earns in the prison, a portion of it does go back to the Crime Victim Compensation Fund. And the other thing is, Your Honor, of course, we don't know if an escrow account would ever be needed under 949.165, but I think we can make a reasonable observation here that there is potential for Mr. Brooks to obtain money in the form of payment to sell his story, to engage in a book deal or a movie offer or whatever it is. We know that this case garnered international attention. It's not beyond the realm of possibility that someone may at some point offer him some funds or some sum of money to share his perspective on this case. And so I would hate for this court to, set $100,000 today and then tomorrow he gets a $500,000 book deal. That would be offensive, I think, and go beyond the scope and the purpose of restitution. So for that reason, Your Honor, even noting his current limited ability to pay, we feel it's appropriate that you order the full amount as requested. Thank you.
Before I turn to the defense, I don't want to make any assumptions, but it's my recollection, probably during the sentencing, maybe even during some of the witnesses, or even during maybe discussion related to jury selection. Obviously, the community had set up a fund for victims to seek reimbursement. It's my understanding that this restitution amount that's being requested would be larger. I don't know if it would be substantially larger if all losses were being requested by the state.
That's an accurate statement, Your Honor, and I think it's very fair to say it would have been substantially larger if it not had been for the generosity of individuals who contributed to those funds.
As I recall, were there millions in that fund at one point?
I believe that's accurate. Yes, I've confirmed that.
All right. And then I'd also heard, but I don't know if there's any truth to this, but that at one point, Mr. Brooks himself may have demanded payment to talk to a news organization or some media outlet. Again, I don't want to make assumptions, but I had heard that at one point.
Attorney Wachow and I are, I've heard that as well, but I can't confirm that with any certainty, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Then turning to you, Attorney Colby.
Thank you, Judge. Although I'm relatively new to the case, I can state just from my review of the file so far, I haven't heard anything at all about anybody offering any kind of book deal or any kind of sums of money in any way, shape, or form to Mr. Brooks. I think it's the odds of Hollywood knocking down his door to give him lots of money for his life story. I think given the totality of the circumstances of this case, I just think are so minuscule that I don't think that argument should be given much weight. I also couldn't imagine any of the media, whether it's a YouTube blogger or the people that are next door to this courtroom, offering Mr. Brooks any money for some kind of exclusive interview. I cannot foresee the future with 1,000% certainty, but I think the odds of that, again, are just exceptionally low. I appreciate the fact, Judge, that the state's stipulating that he's indigent. I think counsel mentioned minimum, and I just want to make sure that the court recognizes that we're not talking minimum wage as a legal $17, $18, $19 an hour for prison work. If he's offered work in any of the facilities that he's going to be serving time in, at best he'll be getting perhaps a few dimes an hour for janitorial work or cleaning up the kitchen. The type of wages that are earned by inmates in our correctional system, they're not used to save up lots of money. They're used to sometimes save up to buy a bag of Doritos or some deodorant or toiletries. That's essentially his earning capacity. If they let him work, perhaps $1 or $2 a day if he works the entire day. So that's the reality of what he's facing. And Judge, counsel touched on this, and I appreciate her argument. Frankly, whether you order $50,000 or $500,000 or $5 million, it's very unlikely that Mr. Brooks will be able to pay even the smallest fraction of that. But this hearing still matters. This is not just a moot point or a moot exercise, because you do have the duty, Judge, to balance 5 sometimes competing factors as listed in Wisconsin Statute 973.2013. I mentioned it in my motion. And then, of course, the 5th factor was I sent a letter to the court about that yesterday. The 5 factors are the amount of loss suffered by any victim as a result of the crime considered at sentencing. 2, financial resources of the defendant. 3, the present and future earning ability of the defendant. 4, the needs and earning ability of the defendant's dependents. And 5, any other factor which the court deems appropriate. Judge, I'll go just a little bit out of order. On subsection 4 regarding Mr. Brooks' dependents, recognizing that he's currently serving multiple life sentences consecutive, realistically, he's not going to be able to support his dependents anyways. And so that factor isn't really on point for this hearing. On the first criteria, the amount of loss suffered from the victims, I'm not surprised that the totality could be in the millions of dollars. I'm sure it's an absolutely enormous amount. And you have that discretion to give that factor great weight. I concede that. But I also hope that you consider the next 2 factors as well, and they kind of go together. His earning ability and his current financial resources. I hope that gets great weight as well. She's had significant financial problems even before this case. I believe he qualified for a public defender from day one. If he were to testify, he would testify that he had no savings, no assets. He doesn't have any kind of inheritance coming down his way. Nobody owes him any kind of money. I don't think anybody would dispute those facts. If you add on another $500,000 or $350,000 to what he's already been ordered to pay, which is in excess of $171,000, then you are sending a message that the 2 factors, his poverty, his earnings abilities, just don't matter. And I hope that they should be considered. Finally, Judge, subsection number 5 is the catch-all section, where you can consider any other factors which the court deems appropriate. I'm not sure if the amount of restitution in document 566 is the sum total of what might be requested in future restitution hearings. The law, there is case law that states that a request could be made well past the 90 days after the sentencing hearing. We could object to it, but a lot of courts have upheld those. And I believe, just for the sake of judicial efficiency, since he cannot pay anyways, since he really couldn't raise more than a couple of dollars a month anyways, is it worth the court system's resources, our time, the court's time, the community's time, to have potential extra restitution hearings when the ability for him to pay anything is going to be minimal or nil? And Judge, finally, I guess one last thing. I would respectfully disagree that this is about rehabilitation. Given the length of Mr. Brooks' sentence, I think this is just more additional punishment, adding extra zeros to the judgment of conviction for money that he owes. I recognize the gravity of the harm, and I mean no disrespect to anybody who suffered any injuries or the medical bills from this case. But given the totality of the circumstances, his multiple life sentences, I just don't think it makes sense to add on any additional restitution. It's just more paperwork, potentially extra hearings for no really just purpose except to add extra numbers on the judgment of conviction. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have, Judge, and thank you.
All right, thank you. First of all, I do want to thank the parties again for the stipulation. I think that certainly has made this hearing one that is running quite smoothly, but also kept victims from having to testify again regarding the loss that they suffered, and even frankly, the representatives from crime victim compensation or the insurance companies related to this. I also appreciate the stipulation from the state regarding the indigency. I think that's a testament to both counsel here and their willingness to, look at this objectively and what the purpose of this hearing and what the court needs to do. It is true that the court does need to consider the statutory criteria in 973.20. That's been referenced by Attorney Covey, both orally here in court today and in his motion to deny restitution. There are 5 criteria, really, when you look at the statute: the amount of loss suffered by any victim as a result of a crime considered at sentencing, the financial resources of the defendant, the present and future earning ability of the defendant, the needs and earning ability of the defendant's dependents, and any other factors the court deems appropriate, really what we would call the catch-all. Obviously, this concerns a case where Mr. Brooks was convicted of dozens and dozens of crimes based upon conduct stemming from him driving an SUV through the Waukesha Christmas parade. There were 73 named victims, one of whom was the victim of the domestic abuse related convictions. And then, of course, the 6 individuals who perished as a result of his conduct and the 68 others who were injured. There are family members that are represented by each of those victims as well. This was and remains a very significant crime that has and will have lifelong effects for not just Mr. Brooks, not just these victims, but the community as a whole. And the losses that were suffered apart from the death and the injuries is only in part represented by the dollar figures that have been requested by the state on behalf of the victims. And that's what prompted one of the questions to Attorney Opper is that there was, and I think perhaps, I don't know if it still has any money left in it, but we know that there was a fund set up by community members, really funded, I'm sure, if you were to look carefully, probably internationally, with millions of dollars that helped defray costs and the loss to many of the victims. There was testimony, whether during the trial or probably more at the sentencing, of individuals who did not have insurance and suffered out-of-pocket losses. And thankfully, the community stepped up, crime victim compensation stepped up. But it would have been significantly more in terms of the dollar amounts that the state is seeking, but for that fund that had been created and used to help the victims of Mr. Brooks's crimes. And so I think that's an important consideration for this court to consider. In addition to the type of loss that was suffered here, I mentioned this earlier, there was death, great bodily harm, certainly emotional and physical trauma. Because this involved a parade and Mr. Brooks driving through it, there's also that sense of security and safety in our community that he robbed, not just the parade goers on that fateful day, but really the community, the state. I think anyone who's heard anything about this case would feel a real sense of security that was stolen by Mr. Brooks. I do think the state's argument on rehabilitation is a solid argument. The bottom line is Mr. Brooks completely minimized his conduct, both during the trial and at sentencing. And it is important, if only symbolic, that while he is in prison for the rest of his life, that whatever meager sums he might make with a prison wage, that there be a reminder to him why there is this deduction from his monies, that his ability to go to the canteen or to buy some extra item that's not otherwise provided by the prison, that there be that reminder to him that he doesn't have even the full access to whatever money is on his account. Now, I'd remind everyone the law caps what that deduction will be at 25%. I think that's a very clear recognition by our legislature of the balance that the system needs to have as it relates to prison monies. And I think that's an appropriate cap. I also think it's important that this court consider that the vast majority, I shouldn't say vast majority, but a significant amount of the restitution is to crime victim compensation, which is a state fund, largely, if not all, funded by taxpayers. And even if there were some grants that are there from federal resources, which I imagine there might be, that's still taxpayer funded. And so I think that's another consideration for this court to look at and consider. Now, I do have to balance. I'll look at all the criteria. Obviously, significant amount of loss. That's criteria reflected in sub 13 sub A. Sub 13 sub B, the financial resources of the defendant. Clearly, they are extremely limited at this time. However, there is absolutely no doubt in my mind that the possibility exists for Mr. Brooks at some point in the future to possibly profit from a book deal, a made-for-TV movie, a movie, whatever it may be. Maybe it's just doing an interview or whatever the case may be. I don't think that can be ruled out, even if he is obviously the person who was convicted of that, but there was international attention. This court had Court TV in to stream the trial. This court has always streamed every hearing as it relates to this case, in part because of the number of victims. And I could not, I don't have a courtroom big enough in this county to hold all parties involved. Certainly during the trial, this courtroom was packed on a daily basis. And to say that the trial went viral, I think would be an understatement. And so all of that relates to, though, that catch-all factor and the possibility that Mr. Brooks could come into a sum of money at a later point in time because of the story that he could provide or tell on his own behalf. You need only look at Netflix to know that crime stories are incredibly there are things people want to watch. People find them interesting. People want to know the why. They want to know the how. And it's certainly not just this case, but we've seen it. And not that that's been on Netflix or anything, but other cases have captured the attention. So I don't think it's beyond the, it's not an impossibility, let's say. It's, I think, a very real possibility that someone might produce something someday for more of a commercial or theatrical type purpose, even if it's a true crime type situation. And that it's possible that Mr. Brooks could profit from that. And that certainly is why at the time of sentencing, the court addressed the request by the state related to the escrow account. I think that's important to do that here. And so when I balance all of these things, when I consider the significant amount of the loss, the court's desire to hold Mr. Brooks accountable, and even if it's a small reminder with his prison monies, that does serve a very important rehabilitative role, because even though he's serving successive life sentences, we all hope that one day he truly is able to accept full responsibility for what he has done, not minimize his conduct, and so that this award of restitution in full, as the state has requested, is important. And I will grant the additional amounts, as I indicated earlier. It's $10,246.20 to crime victim compensation. That total then to them for the judgment of conviction is $134,466.85. Then to Wilbur and Associates, which is Hartford Insurance, $108,000, $164.61. Optum Subrogation, $118,805.62. and then Progressive Insurance for victim GGG, $10,000, and Progressive Insurance for victim Q, $104,662.64. That is, of course, on top of what its court had already ordered to EMC Insurance of $47,193.29. So again, I'll grant the request of the state. We'll also include that it be payable out of any prison monies per state statute, and the court under 949.165 makes the additional amounts of restitution ordered today subject to the escrow account under that statute. Anything the state thinks I've overlooked as it relates to this?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Anything the defense thinks I've overlooked as it relates to this?
Judge, I think I'm good. I'll just let Mr. Brooks know that I'll set up a phone call with him soon. If you could just wave your hand so I know that you heard that, sir.
Oh, and I forgot to state this at the beginning of the hearing. Obviously, it made reference to the video conferencing. He's appearing through the Zoom platform through our technology. It's working. I can see him. You can see him. He's indicated twice now that he hears us. Clearly, the technology is working and it meets the minimum standards for video conferencing. And given that there was no testimony that was taken today, too, it was obviously very appropriate for him to appear that way. He has 20 days from today's date to appeal the decision of the court. I will, of course, make sure an amended judgment of conviction is done as quickly as possible, get that signed, and that will be uploaded to the e-filing system. All right, thank you, everyone. That does conclude our hearing today. Good luck.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.
And let's
Mr.
see.
Brooks, I'll talk to you soon.
DB gives the thumbs up. And that's it. Okay, and they cut the feed. I will say this, Miss R.A., you're in the picture, just so you know. She was watching on the big screen and listening as well. Sorry about that. I threw her in there. Let me say this. With Ivan's permission, Ivan's been texting the burner back and forth here. He's asked me to do a little poll, and so I'm going to go ahead and do this poll with his permission. Ivan is an incredible good sport. He's got some insights because of some life events that have happened here that have helped us out a lot to understand how things happen inside the legal system as far as the correctional facility goes. So we are going to do a Who Wore It Better poll really quickly. Let me see if I can just bring this up on the screen. There's the poll. There is our Who Wore It Better. I'm thinking I'm going with Ivan on this one. He says, I recognize that shirt. Ivan, I think it's going to be hands down. You're the winner, but I appreciate that, Ivan. That's it's funny that we can laugh about that now, and I will say honestly that we appreciate you. We appreciate the content that you give us perspective on as you go through and share your experiences with us. So thank you so much. I think we have a troll in here somewhere, or maybe Ivan, you just gave a sympathy vote to Daryl Brooks. It looks like the winner by a long shot right now is Mr. Ivan. Let's go ahead and end the poll. Looks like 88% were Ivan, 11% for Daryl Brooks out of 217 votes. So a few trolls in there. Mrs. R.A., please come chat with us, says Les Worthington. She was pointing out to that during the feed. We blew up the zoom on the big screen. So instead of just having all the boxes up there, I just had one box so I could just see, it looked like this on the court. So I blew it up so I could see what was going on. And you could see Daryl Brooks was like doing the nose flare thing. You can tell he wasn't happy at several times. And we saw him do that at several times during the trial, where he was just not happy with what's going on. And that nose would be the dead giveaway every time. You're welcome. Glad we could cover that. It's going to be a short idea. Randy Rabbit says, I have no idea what that was about. Randy, if you didn't follow the Daryl Brooks trial, that might be a little confusing. Daryl Brooks was convicted of, 67 some odd charges, maybe more, involving driving his SUV through a parade and injuring scores and killing many people. He was found guilty on every single charge, was given the maximum sentence of life without parole. And so as part of that, at that sentencing, when that was handed down, they said at a later date we will handle the issue of restitution. That is basically how the victims in this trial, or in this case, would get paid back from the defendant, because that's part of the restitution process. It's not just incarceration. And so this trial was the restitution part, where they determined that we're going to figure out how much he owes to everyone and to whom. And so there's insurance companies that paid out losses in the school, the band that was hit. They had to cover the expense of instruments and things like that. Those are real losses. And I realize it's hard to look at that situation and say, yeah, but people died. Yeah, but it doesn't negate the fact that people lost some money there.
Mr. Ivan.
Mr. Ivan's on the phone.
Thank you so much for doing that.
Not a problem.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
I'm gonna clip that and send it to. That'll be my virtual Christmas card for my family. Don't worry, they'll totally get it.
That is awesome, Ivan.
I just wanted to kind of clue you all in. Like, did you notice where he was doing trial from?
Yes, from Dodge. Yep.
Exactly. And so he did not want to get moved. And did you notice how much they were harping on his, wages and how much is he actually going to be able to pay and this, that, the other thing?
Yeah. You called it. You literally you walked us through that entire process of how it would go down and how it happens. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, I guess I'm just taking my virtual bow, but I had no doubts that he wasn't going to go and lose his entire spot in line and his entire comfort zone just for Like, he didn't even say a word today.
Nothing.
Like, not one word.
We got 2 thumbs up and 1 wave. That's what we got out of him, and a couple shrugs.
Yeah.
And that was about it.
Yeah, let's just say his 15 minutes is long overdue. It's gone. It's extinct. It's over. You know what I mean? Like, his time in the sun has long passed, and I think even he, as deluded as he is noticing that.
Yeah. Misty says he would not have stipulated had he not had a lawyer. I agree. If he has fought every step of the way, and had the stipulation not been made here, he would have been fighting the dollar amounts. He would have had people come in and have to testify. Families that got paid out by the fund would have to come in and say, this is how much the medical bills were for my daughter's broken leg. This is how much it costs to set my son's arm. This is the therapy bills that we've had to.
Well, here's a funny story. I once, for a DUI I had, between a DUI and all the fines I had racked up in the chase, it had amounted to, almost $5,000. And when the judge gave me that, sentence or distinction, I literally said out loud in court, $5,000, this might as well be $5 million, Your Honor. Like, because the chances of you getting any of this is almost zero on these wages I make inside the institution. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So 5,000 might as well be 5 million.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so at some point, that's what it ends up being.
Yep. They sadly, these victims will never get full restitution. Luckily,
no.
I think the physical victims who had injuries, I believe they have been compensated for their costs of treatment. So there's not families out there that are
through insurance. I hope.
That are not destroyed, or
yeah.
through the funds that the community set up or things like that. And so now the restitution is sort of to those funds and to the insurance companies. Yes, it does get passed on. So sadly, it affects all of us. Our insurance rates go up, or something like that. It does affect every one of us.
Yeah, and crowdsourcing is amazing, and thank God for it, because without it, people would be getting, like I said, they'd be getting literally 45% of 12 cents an hour.
Yeah.
So nothing. They'd be getting nothing. So, all right, man. Thanks for the poll. I'm gonna publish that. My family will have a good laugh, and I love you guys.
Thanks, Ivan. Love you too. Hang in there, bud. We'll see you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Are you good? Do you want to walk up to the TV again? Because that camera's on. Oh, yeah. Mrs. Ari has something to say. Hang on one second.
totally caught me. I didn't think he was going to switch cameras like that. I just wanted to, that was actually kind of boring. From my point of view, not a lot happened there that was super interesting, but I will say it fascinated me to see the way that the different people in there interacted with the information. That you had Daryl Brooks really acting like, oh, this is such a hassle, and I don't want to be here, and I'm so angry at, this, that, and the other thing. I think really just seeing the judge again probably makes him angry. And then you had the prosecutors who were kind of tired, but they're knowing that they're going to win. And then the most fascinating of all to me was the defense lawyer who was like, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed for my client. I wish I didn't have to be here. This is so terrible. But, his responses were appropriate. When the judge was like, he has this coming. It was the defense lawyer who was like, yeah, he does. And he was really, it was interesting to see somebody coming from that side of it who finally accepted some measure of responsibility. And the last thing that really stood out to me was the way that things were seen. The judge was seeing things from this community point of view, all these people and all these bills and all this different people who've been impacted in these different ways. And she's seeing all of that, and she's bringing that into the whole making a decision at this point. It is impacting her as a leader in the community. And then you see Daryl Brooks, and it's just really all about him. These are his pennies, and this is his frustrating situation. And, I'm not here to pass judgment because that's already been done. I just thought it was interesting to see how all these different people are seeing the same situation.
If you can't tell, Mrs. R.A. and I are both people watchers, and we love doing it. She does such a good job. Thank you, Mrs. R.A. One day we'll have you on camera.
One day I'll call in.
Like one day she'll call in on the burner phone. You know the number. I promise to answer if you call. Awesome. Thank you, Mrs. R.A. Appreciate that. I will say that during DB, the thing that made me smile, and you guys caught on to this briefly. Let's see if I can get everything set up here the way it needs to be. 1, 2, 3. I think it's this one right here. Nope, that wasn't it. Went to this one. We did hit 13,000 subscribers during the Daryl Brooks hearing. It's amazing. That's 2,000 subscribers within a week, which is just unbelievable. Yes, there's the party horns. We'll turn on the party horn briefly. But thank you so much for all of you that have done everything that makes it possible for people to find this channel. It's amazing. This community is unbelievable. Abby UK, thank you very much for that. There's the party horn. Just blasted my eardrums. I had the volume too high. Thank you very much. And Abby, congratulations on 3 months. That is really neat. All right, that is. I feel a little tall. Hang on one second. Let me adjust my camera briefly. Taking a second to connect. Sorry. It's lots of parties going on. It's like it's playing that sound like 7 times over at the same time. There's so many people clicking the party button. Oh, there's buffer 2. I'm gonna run to A. There we go. Okay, now I feel a little better. Who said buffer? Buffer mod chat. Hang on one second. We've got a phone call.
Deanna Singleton. To accept.
Are we going to
Hey, Deanna. This is Recovery Addict. How are you doing?
Hi. No, okay. Sorry. Deanna, the audio bird and chat, guys. I'm so excited that I finally found you guys. But no, I had a huge question. I know a couple other people were talking about it in the chat too. Like, why? Because it was his mama's car. Mm-hmm. Why would she not be held liable in some way? With this restitution, which I loved some of the restitution jokes that were coming out in the chat. But
that I don't know. I realized there was some sense of liability there on. Sorry, I'm scrolling back as I'm talking to you. Some sense of liability because the mom loaned him the car, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know.
And she bailed him out and all this other, yeah.
I'm thinking this through, so I want to make sure I say how I feel. I don't think there was any liability on her bailing him out. First of all, that is a legal action. It's not bailing somebody out. You do that to help them. And generally, everyone who gets bailed out was probably in a bad situation and just needs a hand up or some help. So I don't think him.
That's true.
I don't think him being bailed out should be something she should be punished for. As far as the car goes, you guys might not agree with me, but I'm not on board with suing the mom, and this is why. We have a very litigious society, right? We have it seems that there's always someone that you can blame for anything that happens, and there's always somebody you can sue, and you just need to find who's got the deepest pockets to do that. At some point, there's responsibility that needs to just be held at the level of the actor. In this case, I think Daryl Brooks. If there is evidence that his mom knew that he was going to do something bad with the car that would hurt other people, and she said, yes, go ahead, that changes the whole story. Suddenly she is...
that makes total sense.
The culpability,
I mean,
it
she
leaps
needs
up.
as much grace as he does, but still, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't...
I was just thinking, like, legally, like, even from, like, an insurance perspective, like, isn't there something that's going to come back on her? And it was, honestly, it was more of a, for me, it was more of a, who's going to help her kind of mindset when I was asking that question. It's really harsh, but...
Yeah, I don't know.
Consequences, right?
There are consequences. I mean, she's out of vehicle, right? She was not in a financial position to just go get a new vehicle. She didn't have much to begin with, right? And now because of Daryl Brooks, what she did have was destroyed, and now, her peace, her in life, her basically her whole life, she's now associated with Daryl Brooks and his actions because that was her son,
which is unbelievably hard. I mean, just because it's like there's a felon in my family, but that like even though it wasn't even a big world-stopping thing, it still affects us. 20 years later. So, I mean, I get that.
Yeah. I know. I have to think some more about that because I do think that if there is culpability, that it's only right to follow it. And even if it's hard to give the penalty down, I mean, I watched the ruling in it was the Young Thug case where the juror had pulled out her camera and was filming as a jury duty. She's like, hey, here we are at jury duty, guys, hi, type thing, and then she stopped filming and the person next to her said, you're not supposed to do that. And a while she's like, oh, I deleted it. And the bailiff comes over, checks her deleted videos, says, yep, there's the video. She got 3 days in jail for that. Okay, and that seems a little harsh, but at the same time, society is a society of rules. We have to follow them. If we don't have consequences for the law, is it really a law? So I agree. If there's culpability, if there's something that needs to be followed, I don't know. It is so hard in that situation because I look at her and she is clearly broken. Daryl Brooks' mom is broken. She is devastated. She's going to die a broken woman because of what Daryl Brooks did. Yeah. And at some point, the compassionate side of me says, when is it enough? What do we extract? Do we extract the last dollar that we could legally get from her because of this? Yes, she would have made. We probably, all of us, if we look at her entire upbringing of Daryl Brooks, there's probably things we would raise him differently. We would have done this differently or that differently, or we disagree with decisions she made as a parent.
But that's hindsight, and that's always 20/20.
Yeah.
So
I just at this point I think I turn a compassionate side to her and say that enough's enough right there, and I don't think she should be drugged through any more than she already has been.
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't be happy if I was a taxpayer that would have to pay for any of his restitution. Mm-hmm. But I would be happy to be a donator to maybe any kind of therapy that she would need through her church or through her doctors or whatever, because that seeing it up close with other family members, it can be really scary.
Yeah, the sad thing when there's a crime like this is there are victims on both sides. And so thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate that very much.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, I'll let you go. I'm just so excited I found you. I'm also a sound engineer also.
Oh,
and
good.
So like every time you get into the little nerdy bits about the EQ and everything, I just kind of like geek out a little bit.
Well, you'll be pleased to know that I had a mix minus issue when I started with with Discord this afternoon. I'm like, that's a problem. I can fix that. So yeah.
Well, I still can't figure out Discord, but I'll figure it out eventually.
One day.
I'm in the generation that should be able to figure it out. So
yeah, we'll get you there. Thank you so much for the call. Appreciate talking to you.
All right, thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Yep, we'll see you. Bye. All right, Kazi, I'm sorry. First of all, I missed your comment, and I wanted to address this. You said, I'd like to ask you about your addiction. I've struggled with addiction. Kazi, the addiction that initially, when I made this channel, my addiction that I was talking about was a metal detecting addiction. I liked recovering artifacts from the ground, and so I chose Recovery Addict. But I've got more buffers happening here. But so let's see. I have that channel name, but I also have my own addiction story that deals with my addiction to video games. And it was some of you could look at that and be like, "Yeah, really? Video games? You play games?" Yeah, I played a lot of games, so much that my health was at risk, my family was at risk, and other people's well-being was at risk. I was playing games on my laptop as the sole driver, the sole occupant of a vehicle driving down the freeway with a laptop on my side. That's how addicted. I could not stop playing to even focus on driving. So I put all sorts of people in danger. Just by the grace of God, I did not hit anyone. I've never, I didn't accidentally take someone's life in that moment of complete irresponsibility. But that my addiction was to video games. It was very real to me, as real as an opiate addiction or an alcohol addiction or something else. And the effects were just as threatening, what they could be. I will say that overcoming a video game addiction is obviously not on the same level as overcoming a chemical, a drug addiction. I'm not trying to say that it is. But that's my background. That's my story a little bit. I have just the utmost respect and appreciation for individuals who are working through their own pathway to sobriety, that have, whether it's 1 day or 1 year or 10 years, we cheer them on and support them here wholeheartedly. And we have many people in chat who have shared their stories regarding their sobriety periods, and we're just excited for every single one of them, for every day we have together, and each day we can add one more to that count. Does that answer your question, Kazi? Sorry. Let's see. Let me see what else there is. How do we do the buffer sound? He found it, but he needs the sounds on. Sounds are on. Okay. Sorry, the sounds are back up.
13K sub. Emoji time, face rolling on the floor, laughing, monkey covering ears, monkey covering eyes, monkey covering mouth, globe showing Asia and Australia love, struck cat face, globe showing America's love. Struck cat face, globe showing Europe and Africa love, struck cat face, shopping cart, rolled up newspaper, phone call, moon viewing ceremony, pictorial card, snowman.
What was the showing Europe and Africa? The globe showing Europe and Africa. Thank you very much, Matthew, for all the emojis and for triggering them. I knew you could figure that out. You got it. I'm just checking with my mods on the mod chat to make sure I didn't miss anything. Let's see. Let me know. I think I've handled everything that you asked. If not, let me know. Krista, did you gift another 5 memberships? Is that what I'm seeing here? Did I miss that? Holy cow. Let's see. Babs09X, Tammy Richmond, Lindsay Hendricks, Wallflower, and Golly G gifted memberships by Krista, who's trying to target someone. I forget who it is you're trying to target. Was it Amanda or something like that? Thank you, Krista. I will tell you, it's very difficult to hit your target when it comes to YouTube subscription gifts. Amanda, I'm so sorry. I see you there. Make sure your settings turned on to receive gifts on this channel, and hopefully it will happen at some point. Okay, let's see. KX Star, thank you very much. Good to have you here. Okay, we'll keep an eye on it. I wish we could target. I really do. There are so many people that are here in chat, and we learn their backstory, and we want so much to give them a little something to say, we recognize you. And YouTube does not give me or you guys a way to do that, to single someone out and say, this is for you. This is a gift that we would like you individually to have. Instead, it's just more like random scattering sunshine type thing. And so it's funny. All right, you're going to have to take a closer look at the globe emojis now. Yes, be careful which one you use. It might not be the one you mean. Okay. Lindsay says, wow, I was playing Xbox and heard my name dang near broke my neck. Lindsay, I think of... I think what happened, if I could close my eyes and imagine what happened as you were playing and heard that and then rush to the computer, it was probably similar to Letitia Stout. Well, she was in an interrogation and her phone was across the room next to the investigator. And the second it started buzzing with an update, and she leaps, one single bound, crosses the room, dives for the phone to get it so that nobody else can see what's on the phone. That's probably what it was like there in your house. Good to have you here, Lindsay. Thank you so much. And thank you, Krista, for making Lindsay's day and for interrupting her game. What early influences gave you the amazing entrepreneurial spirit? Asking for a friend. 6-volt bus. I have had a long line of successful failures as far as entrepreneurial spirit goes. I've had several businesses that either just never took off or failed. Beginning, I think KF7AIK would tell you our first business venture together as painting houses was sort of successful and at the same time a resounding failure. So I did that. I've worked, and I took a job as a pooper scooper. I thought, hey, I could earn some money here. I learned very quickly that I don't like being the guy with the shovel or the guy pushing the wheelbarrow. So I learned there are some jobs I like and some that I don't. I had some great mentors growing up that taught me the value of work and the value of hard work, and how hard work can overcome a lot of challenges. Just a little bit of effort can get you somewhere, even if you're not really good at the effort. But a little bit of effort, consistent effort, can make things happen. So I learned a few lessons there all over the place. As far as the actual who taught me, I've been inspired by a lot of different people. My grandpa was an inventor. He'd create things that he'd see a need for something and take action and be and design something, and that was really neat to see. My dad built computers, started a company, building computers and selling those, and I got to see how that worked a little bit. I've got a brother who at one point was a garbage man who threw the cans in the back of the truck and dumped them out and stuff like that. And I learned from all this there were things I wanted to do and things I didn't want to do, and a lot of where I would end up in life depended on me and how much I wanted to make an effort to change the path I was on. So I don't know who I could really give all the credit to. Clearly, I've had a lot of great influence here as with some of the people here in chat that have helped me with my YouTube channel, that have cheered me on and given me some guidance and things like that. But I don't know. I'd have to think it over if there was like one person that would really be my go-to. It would probably be a youth leader I had. Probably a youth leader I had named Dave Isbell, and I'll out him because it's a good thing. But Dave Isbell taught me that my attitude determines my altitude in life, and that for the years that he was my youth leader, and that for all the weeks we've spent, with a huge group of crazy boys in the middle of Wyoming, the Wind River Mountains, camping and things like that. The most important, the only thing I can remember distinctly is that he says your attitude determines your altitude, and that he'd stand us on the trail and have us walk down the trail and tell us to walk like a leader, and that's what that had a huge impact on me. All right. Let's see. Where did I miss out?
Will Mexican Paella get RA to answer my DM on Discord? Inquiring minds.
Dean, your name on Discord is not the same as your name here, so I don't know what it is. I have some requests for contact which generally I don't contact people directly through Discord. I generally just do it through the pages. So I cannot see your inquiry. Please let me know where it is. I've looked for it. I cannot see it. So if there's another name on Discord that you're known under, let me know and I can try to pick it out. But I am not ignoring you on purpose. Or can you ask me here or something over the burner phone? Let me know. I want to answer your question. Kevin, congratulations on 3 months. Glad to be here. Great job you do for us. Thank you very much, Kevin. Excited to be here with you as well. Okay. Walk with purpose. Good. I think there were several more gifts that just came out, courtesy of Beth Mayer. 5 more memberships. You guys are amazing. Thank you. Did you ask? Oh, no. Hang on one second. Let me share a little story. Last night, I was on a meeting, okay? And it's a meeting that, a regular meeting I have every Wednesday night. And it's a Zoom meeting, so here I am sitting at my desk. I try to turn off the courtroom in the background, things like that. And I'm sitting there, and my kids are running back and forth and like doing the rolling chair in the hallway. And the door is like mostly shut to my office here, but it's so noisy. And so I go and I hit the mute button on my soundboard. And then I go to yell out the door because I have to yell because they're making a ton of noise. And so I'm like, "Hey, you guys, please shut the door. Making tons of noise." So I'm like, it was a pretty authoritative yell. And the meeting immediately goes silent. And everyone's like, Scott, you're not muted. So I'm like, well, it's a good thing I didn't say anything bad, right? But they came and shut the door. It was great. But anyway, so now I'm gonna mute really quickly and call out to Mrs. R.A. Not in the same voice I used last night for my kids who were making tons of noise, but I'm about to call out to her and see if maybe cinnamon rolls are on the agenda. Hang on one second. I don't know. Maybe we could have her call in on the burner phone. Okay. The whole room checked their drawers. Yeah. It wasn't muted. No, I knew I was muted. I tested first. I made a little sound and made sure the audio bars weren't jumping. So I'm not going to fall for that one, Michaela. All right. I wonder how cinnamon rolls ship. Laura, I don't know because they've never made it to the post office successfully. And maybe that's my fault, but they are delicious. She does such a good job making them. She makes okay, I will say Mrs. R.A. makes the best dinner rolls you have ever eaten. I mean, we're talking, this is something that should be on a postcard, the steaming butter, the little, the centerpiece of our Thanksgiving dinner is not the turkey.
Expat Mexico on Discord. This is getting pricey. Smiling face
Dean,
with smiling eyes and rosy cheeks.
Dean, please, you don't have to do this. Let me look right now. Expat Mexico. Okay, I think I did see that. I just didn't know it was you. I'm opening Discord as we speak. I'm not gonna take your message off the screen until I can kill you big time. You've definitely paid for my undivided attention just for a moment here. Anyway, as I'm pulling this up in Discord as it's loading, Thanksgiving dinner, the centerpiece, the most amazing part of our table is the rolls my wife makes, and they're also the item that disappears the fastest. Everyone's like, rolls gone. But it's not the turkey, it's not the ham, it's not the potatoes, it's not the stuffing or anything else we use. It's the rolls she makes. And so she makes great dinner rolls. And then can you imagine using a very similar recipe, changing it just a tiny bit and making the most amazing. There, I found you. Okay, accept DM. There we go. I accepted the direct message, Expat Mexico. Let's see, where is it? And now it's gone. I don't know what just happened. Message requests. Friends. Oh, there it is. I see it. Okay, here we go. I'm not going to read it out loud. I'm going to read it to myself just briefly. So, as I promised earlier, I'm going to play some music that was requested on the Discord live stream. Okay, the question is metal detecting related, and I think it's appropriate to share here publicly, so I will, Dean, if that's all right. Dean is asking about strategies for metal detecting on the beach, and I will say it differs depending on the beach a little bit, so you have to sort of read the beach. If you have a beach that has a huge change in high tide and low tide, I would recommend, like if you have huge waves that, sometimes they're up really high, 4 or 5 feet change in everything, I would recommend to go at low tide to the lowest point on the water, the wet sand, and detect there as much as you can. I'd start like an hour before low tide and just work that low tide line as far as you can, because it's going to be, the waves are going to be scouring that beach and dragging all those heavy objects down pretty deep. So the lower the tide, the better. If the beach is pretty much just, rise and fall, little small waves, not like surfing waves or anything like that, you're probably going to do better in the dry sand, finding targets, but you'll have a lot of trash in the dry sand. In the wet sand, you'll have far fewer targets, but they'll probably be better quality. So that's about it. Chandra says, you had a hot mic moment? I cannot relate. Chandra, I may have heard your hot mic moment on the Discord today. That was awesome. Dean, is there any other questions I can answer for you? I would ask what metal detector you use. What metal detector you use, because wet sand performs differently. It performs like mineralized soil. I would recommend something like the, the MineLab Equinox 600 or 800 is a great machine for wet sand. A multi-frequency machine usually does well there, whereas single-frequency machines sometimes have trouble in that saltwater soil or sand. Sharon, I will do this. I promised to do this. It's on my list to give out the recipe. I will say the reason we have not given it out so far is because the recipe card itself is so covered in flour and all the ingredients that normally go into cinnamon rolls end up on this card, and it's almost a roll itself. I think I could bake it and the dough would rise. But we've got to get a clean copy for everybody, and we'll get that handed out. Matthew Harris just wrote lyrics to the song. You're going to have to call in and sing it. It's not enough just to write the lyrics, unless you can send me the music. Weather Watch is watching the skies. Tornadoes coming in, then the cow flies. Let us know if the rain's going to fall, and says to get to safety, to get to your shelter, y'all. Love it, Matthew. If you ever give up the legal profession, you may have a future maybe in Nashville or something. Oh man, second highest tidal range in the world, 11 meters at high tide every day. Lisa, the downside of that is, I imagine the tide comes in fast and you're sprinting for the dry sand. Let's see, thinking of metal detecting as well. Live off the Bay of Fundy where the tides are upwards of 60 feet. Sorry, couldn't resist. Oh my goodness. Those are some big waves. He does jingles on the side. Awesome. Yes, we'll have to put together a method for Matthew to sing that new his new single to that music. It's not that we want you to sing, Matthew. We really do. We will laugh with you. I've done it. It's embarrassing, but we do it. The singing lawyer. Ivan's in back making his hooch, singing Bob Seger, thinking of his pooch. There you go. It's easy. All of you can make lyrics. You can do this. Maybe we can write some lyrics to that, and we'll go for a winning song contest. All right. We have had a fantastic day. I know it's early, but I think it's time to let everyone have a break. It has been amazing. Thank you so much for everyone who's made today just be wonderful for us. It's been awesome. I can't thank you enough. It wouldn't be the same without you here. And I mean that for each one of you. It's been incredible. You guys are wonderful. We've had Daryl Brooks in court. He's going to have to pay people for what he did, even though it really will be a very slow process. Tomorrow we're going to be back with Letitia Stauk. She's going to be in court doing her thing, which is yada, 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 something, 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 whatever. That's going to happen. We're going to hear from her. We'll start tomorrow with the rest of the video. We'll get at the end. Remember, we ended her big 4.5 hour interrogation or interview video with her being held in custody at the last minute when she was trying to leave the building. They finally said, nope, we're holding on to you, and we're holding on to your phone. We're getting a warrant right now. She's about to have her breakdown. The breakdown will trigger the call to the ambulance. The ambulance is going to come and take her to the hospital, and that will, those events will play out with her being forcibly required to provide a DNA sample, as well as some fingernail clippings and scrapings and things like that. So, not clippings, just scrapings. And so that's going to happen. Then she's going to leave before the SANE exam, and all this is happening. So we're working through the timeline a little bit at a time. We are getting closer and closer to the expert witnesses who are going to be a little bit slower in the process. So we're going to go from burning through witnesses to spending a day with an expert, sometimes painfully slow. So just be prepared for that. Next week's going to be interesting. We also may have Harley on the stand as early as next week. She's still on the witness list. It still might happen. So that'll be interesting. Samantha Terry says, remember to check out Matthew Harris's YouTube video. He dropped one today at noon Eastern time. I have not watched it yet. Also tonight, Brandy Churchwell has a recap for Lori Vallow for the trial today. So I recommend both channels. Probably Matthew Harris first, because you can do that while you're waiting for Brandy's to start later tonight. Let's see. I'm just looking to see if I answered. Dean, did I answer everything you said? Is that everything you need? Burner phone costs big pesos from Mexico. I understand. I apologize for that. I wish. Are you on Discord, Dean? Because if you want to talk some more, I can pop over on Discord really quickly and talk to you specifically if you have some questions about that. I do feel bad for not answering your request. He says perfect. Let me know if you want me to pop in on Discord just for a minute right after this. And that goes with anybody. If anybody needs some advice, whether it's on technical gear, live streaming, metal detecting, or just need a listening ear for a moment, I'm glad when I can. I'd like to help out. Weather Watch is trying to ruin our afternoon by saying there's a tornado warning for central Bleckley County in central Georgia. Expires in 30 minutes. Hopefully nothing develops there. Hopefully everyone's safe. All right. I think that's all we have left to do is to hit the button. And this music is both exciting and sad at the same time. This has been a fun day. I appreciate all you guys. It's been good with how heavy trial has been this last week or two. It's been very good to be able to sort of reset, have some fun, and have some lighthearted moments with all of you guys. I'm glad I got to hear so many of your voices on the Discord. That was great. But yeah, it's been wonderful. Thank you all. Tonight when you go home, please hug the people you love, smile at someone, make their day just a little bit better. And please stay safe till we go live again. We're going to be live tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. That'll give us 2 hours, 2 hours before court begins. Should be plenty of time to cover everything we need to, maybe a little catch up on things or answer any questions. Let's see, 9 a.m. Can I move that to 10? Is that all right? Because it's Friday. Can I move it to 10 o'clock? Let's do 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. That'll give us an hour to do a roll call and everything. I just don't think we have anything to cover, and I don't want you guys to have to be sitting here waiting for me to have something to cover tomorrow. So let's do 10 a.m. tomorrow. You never know. I might pop in Discord early in the morning before we go live first. That was a lot of fun, so we might do that as well. So we'll start 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. If you spread the word to everybody that way, that would be great. Thank you all. 14K tomorrow, says Kane's fan. That would be incredible. Don't think it's going to happen, though, but it's a fun idea. I'll compromise and do 8 a.m. Adam, I can always count on you to help out like you do. Thank you all. I think I've already done the outro, so have a good night. Please stay safe. We'll see you guys in the morning.